We completed on a deal yesterday. Never saw the property, saw some pictures, know the seller quite well, just through past business dealings. And we're going to buy the whole portfolio offer, all being well. This is the first one. There's a few things that need sorting out, and then we'll take the rest on as well. But this one could be done very quickly. We paid $157 for the property. I'm going to run through a few numbers later and lay it all out and show you the expected profit, because we're probably going to flip that straight into auction and not touch it. I had a few people message me a few days ago and say, you know, you did a video that says you don't see all the properties that you buy, and I think that was like a bit of a paradigm shift for them. They've never really heard somebody who's in that business say that. So I'm going to run through a few figures on that, and proof's in the pudding really. We had a rich valuation on it, about 40% higher than what we paid for it, and the deal structure's quite funky as well, moving forward with the rest of the portfolio. So I'm going to run through those figures, and again, it's all based on relationship, the whole thing. The seller I knew from the past. We did a few business dealings. We've done loans to each other over the past for different business dealings as well. And now they just want out. They wanted out. They're in a different country. They don't want anything to do with it. And we were those guys who could perform. We did use a bridging loan on this one. Again, I'll run through the terms later. I'll actually show you the bridging terms that we got for that. Obviously, I'll take all the main details off there, but I'll show you that. I'll show you the stamp duty we have to pay and all that good stuff, legal fees and whatever. And then I'll share with you expected sale price, either one through the auction or two on the open market, and I'll show you what we expect to get there and what our margins will be if we hit those targets. These are my favourite type of deals. I've said it time and time again. In and out, cash in the bank, velocity of money, which is a very real thing. Ask yourself the question, would you rather make more money, let's say another 10 grand over 6 months? The buyer has to get a mortgage, has to go through loads of hoops, blah blah, or make 10 grand less and get it done in 4 weeks to 8 weeks, you know, and then work out that ratio. Because from my perspective, I'd rather make less money quicker and keep turning that over, rather than waiting 4, 5, 6 months, making more money, but not having as much certainty. You have to weigh that up. You have to look at that line that you're sort of setting for each individual strategy. I'm always that second guy where I'm in and out quick as soon as possible for this specific strategy of flipping and trading. We've sold a couple in the past on the open market and they fell down because the buyer didn't get XYZ and the bank weren't happy and all that stuff, which is obviously important from the bank's perspective for their own security, but from our perspective as a seller, it's quite often a pain in the backside. So when the hammer goes down in auctions, which is why I love them, deals are done, exchange is done. If they don't complete, you can sue them, go after the difference. If you sell it again and don't hit the same price, you can go after the previous buyer for the difference. So yeah, I'll run through those numbers now.
Okay, so I thought I'd go over the numbers for you here and clarify anything as we go. It also helps me, to be fair, run through them, make sure that I'm tight with what's going on. So 2 ways of selling this thing now. We've bought it Number 1, auction. Number 2, estate agency. I've gone through these figures and it's making me question whether the auction route is the right route. Probably still will go down there, but let me know what you think. So I based the auction sale on a 4-month turnaround. Now that's conservative. I think it will be 3 months, but I based it on 4 months just to be conservative with it. Now we paid 157 for the property. The bridging lender lent 131,552 and 68 pence. There were fees involved, of course, as there always are. Legal fees, 2.5 grand. Stamp duty, 4,710, and some small fees elsewhere, indemnity insurance and that sort of thing. I've actually got that here, that we can see a completion statement. So we got 157, 4710 stamp. Legal fees, there's 125 there plus 250 VAT, but I actually paid £1,000 of that a couple of months ago to lock the deal down and exchange. And these are the little fees that are on top. We got the no searches policy there. For speed, we had to take that out because we can't be waiting for the necessary bodies to be doing searches in this instant, and the lender was okay with no search indemnity policy. So as you can see there, they released 131,55268, which left a balance of £32,127 and 32 pence. That's here, which means the total capital deployed was 163,680. Now we only paid 157, so you can see there the difference. I always work out around 6 or 7% on top of purchase as a ballpark figure. That does change slightly, but 6 or 7% is there or thereabout on top of your price, which includes your stamp, your legals, blah blah blah, all that other good stuff. So we're in at the moment for 163,680. Now if we come to selling this thing, we've had a RICS valuation at 265, which is why they lent us 131, because they're still very secure. It's like a 54% loan to value loan they've got, so they're still happy to lend that. So they're actually lending it on value rather than purchase price. In my opinion, we're going to be able to sell this for at least 238 in auction. I'll be very surprised if we get anything less than that, and I think we'll probably get a little bit more. The cost of selling, however, we've got an auction cost here, auctioneer's cost of 5,400. That's around 2% plus VAT. Holding costs, you've got council tax, gas, electric, all that stuff, and I've averaged that out over 4 months. We've got 900 quid over that 4 months. And then you've got your interest to the lender over that 4 months, and the interest to the private investor. So for the private investor, we actually borrow 33,000 from him. Worked with him numerous times over the last 3 or 4 years. He's a great guy. We, pay him at the end of the loan. The loan he's paid back all in one at the end, including interest. The lender is also a retained loan, so we pay all that back at the end as well. I've actually got the terms here that you can see. So we've got the value of the security, that's the 265. First charge is 141. Now bear in mind they actually only released this figure here, the 131,55268. Arrangement fees 1,413. That's added to the 131 admin fee and interest. The blended interest rate is always a useful figure. That's essentially all the fees included in the interest payment there. But we don't pay it monthly, it's all retained. So if we go back to this sheet now, you've got the interest over 4 months is this figure, including the arrangement fee. Altogether, you're in for £14,346.88 of costs, which is that figure there, which gives us a profit there of, a sale price minus cost there of £223,653.12, which gives us a net profit of £59,973.12. That's if we sell it through the auction, so essentially 60k. Now if we go through the estate agent, I've put in there a 6-month turnaround rather than 4 months. We're assuming a lot here, and I appreciate that, but I'm trying to do it for simplicity. We don't know we can sell that thing in 6 months because it's on with an estate agent. It should be able to sell that quickly, but you never know with how slow some of these processes are that we deal with every day. So I've put 6 months. Please bear with me on that. I can't, it's pure guesswork, and there's a lot of uncertainty around that. We sort of mitigate, when we work with estate agencies to sell things, we sort of try and mitigate that by taking non-refundable deposits from buyers. And there's a lot of agents who don't like to do that. A lot of solicitors who don't like to do that, but the reality is loads of new build developers do it. There's no reason you can't do it either. It's just that people don't do it as standard, and you can if you want to. So the figures up here are exactly the same, but in terms of sale price, I think we'll get more because you open yourself up to more buyers. Obviously in auctions, it's more investor market, although mums and dads do go shopping in auctions nowadays. I still think you open yourself up to more buyers if you're on the open market. Estate agencies also have obviously their own buyers, don't they? Whereas in auctions, although there are buyers, again, they're more investor types. So you have to bear that in mind. The costs are also slightly more, and that's because we're holding it for 6 months instead of 4. So agents, you're going to be there or thereabout to gain 2%. You might be a bit less because of the competition. You've got more agents competing for your business, so generally speaking you can drop the price a little bit and negotiate with them, probably get it down to 1.5% there, but let's keep it at 2. Holding costs have gone up a little bit more because you've got another couple of months of holding. Interest has gone up again to the total amount. If you look at that figure there, £7,969.32, you've got that figure there. Interest to the private investor has gone up because you've got a couple more months of interest to pay. And we have to actually pay legals here, whereas at the auction we put the legals onto the buyers. So the legals, we're paying for those as well. So you're down to £18,199.32, which is that figure there. Which means we walk away with £241,868, leaving us a net profit of £78,120.68. Now, if you look at our sheet here, the net profit on the auction is £59,973. The sheet here is £78,120.68. So the difference between the auction and the estate agency is £18,147.56. Please keep the assumptions that we're holding in mind here. That's £18,000 in these examples over 2 months. Now, using these figures, we would probably use estate agencies because that's a lot of money over 2 months. And if you've got a good agent, they can do that. However, you pay for certainty, and certainty through the auction, in my mind, holds a lot of value. As soon as that hammer goes down, you've sold the property, you've locked in the profit, and the money comes back, usually within 28 days. You can go again. So I'm a big one for velocity, the velocity of money and speed, getting the money back, pulling it back out again, profit, churning it back out and compounding it. However, using these examples, we probably would use the estate agency. £9,000 a month is a lot of money, right? It's a lot of profit to just to give away, as it were. If we were going to go to probably 9 months with an estate agency there, if it did take 9 months, we'd probably go the auction route. And also bear in mind with the auction here, it'll actually probably be 3 months rather than 4 months, which would save us on a few costs here as well, probably pushing 63,000, which would, the difference would be 15 grand. We'd still probably use the estate agency in that model. So there's the two figures. You can see there our loan agreement. I've left the address off for obvious reasons. And there's the completion statement for it. We did this deal yesterday. And you know, worst case scenario, we go through the auction and we sell it and we make a 60 grand there or thereabouts net profit on that. Found this deal through a network. I've known this person a long time, and circumstances have suggested that we need, presented themselves that we can do a good deal here. So that's where we're at. Hopefully we buy the rest of a portfolio and structure a deal that works for everybody.